Well, I'm back from work and I'm ready to work on another video! There! Now what movie should I talk about?
If you wanna grind Walter, you could do a Christmas movie for the big hit on the algorithm. More views, more motivation, baby.
Walter.
Oh, my pizza roll. Look, my pizza rolls are done. Ah! Fuck! That's okay. I have 19 now pizza rolls. You didn't ask to see my pizza rolls, but now you're going to look at my pizza rolls. That pizza rolled away. Okay, here's the thing, my delicate beauties. We gotta get through this kind of quick, which means I can't eat before I record. We gotta go. So here's the thing about the movie Elf. I keep doing that, so I have to acknowledge it. This is the only Christmas movie I own. Or it was until yesterday when I went and bought another one for the purpose of showing it in this video. But for all intents and purposes, this is the only Christmas movie I own. I don't remember when I saw it. I have no memory of this place.
I have no memory of this place.
It's a mystery. I don't own every movie I've ever seen, and I don't own every movie I've ever watched. The point is, I must have liked it enough to go out and buy it, because it's on my shelf. So when I decided to talk about a Christmas movie, it was an easy choice. So I like this movie, and even though it hasn't been years since I watched it, I still have it fairly well memorized, and I still like it. So when I watched it through to take my notes and make a video about it, I was smiling most of the way through it. I said out loud to myself a couple of times, this is a funny movie. It's a funny, feel-good, generic-ass, mildly formulaic, feel-good Christmas movie, with the exception of the fairly original idea of a human being raised by elves. It's a fish out of water story. Those are pretty much always funny, and this one is not an exception. Well, exceptional in that it's got what a lot of movies wish they had, and that's rewatchability. You could watch this more than once and it's still funny, which is kind of remarkable. So the movie did something right. Cute. It's kind of hard to talk about good movies, especially good movies that are funny, because there isn't much to pick apart, but that doesn't mean they're not worth talking about. So while this video won't be near as long as my other two where I was picking apart, I still want to talk about it. Besides Breaking Bad, I don't know of any show or movie that uses the name Walter so much. Anyway, it's weird that the name Walter is said out loud several times and it doesn't strike me as my name. Also, it's a meme, or it was a meme. Maybe it's dead now. I don't care, because my name is Walter, which means I'm allowed to do this as much as I want. Walter. Every time someone says Walter in the video movie, now I have to address it as such. Anyway, if you care about the plot, I'm gonna spoil it now. Ooh.
Spoilers.
We gotta go! Oh my god! We gotta time! Oh my god! Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Hello there.
Hello there.
So I didn't notice this until I finished watching through the movie, but I realized that Papa Elf's voice isn't pitched up like the other elves for some reason.
Oh, hello. You're probably here about the story.
Lazy bum. Couldn't even make a clock.
So for the rest of this video, whenever I hear him speak and play it in the edit, I'm gonna pitch him up like the rest of the elves, because it's fun.
Oh, hello. You're probably here about the story.
We're having fun! So the doors open, and there's a guy in there with a wheelbarrow full of Monopoly, and I saw that, and I was like, hold on now. So let's watch it again. He's in this room, walking away from the door, and he's turning back around, and yeah, that makes sense. Clearly that was just some blocking thing, or like, just do something. When he opens the door, just come out. But you gotta wonder with the continuity, like, where was he starting? In the corner and just turning around, and yeah, if you think about it, it does make sense. Not important, but those Tonka trucks make me a little excited in my heart, like, oh! I'm an adult, fully grown little boy.
The fully grown little boy.
But if someone gave me one of those for Christmas, I'd be like, here where they're messing with the toys and whatever, you see the guy in the corner stacking the Monopoly money. I thought it'd be really funny if during this montage of things that they're taking Monopoly money and they're like putting it in bill counters, like they're counting Monopoly money and whatever. It's funnier in my head, I guess. It wasn't funny between my lips. Okay, listen to this burp from the gnome. So when I heard that, I was like, that sounds like the burp, the big one that happens later in the movie. I'll bet you monies that the guy who did that burp is the same guy who did the burp at the end of the movie, who I don't think is Will Ferrell, by the way. But the burps, I should play them side by side and let you judge. I'm confident they're both performed by the same person. Hey, that burp almost sounded like his. It was me. I was the guy. I mean, I know this is just a dumb Christmas movie, but I actually really like this motif. I think I'm not a musically inclined person, but I'm learning. And I believe this is called a motif. It's a melodic melody. It's a melody that's repeated and used in different moods or tones or forms of context. For example, in the beginning here, when we first hear it, it's really nice and happy. And then later we hear it in a sad way. But it's interesting to me. This probably isn't interesting to most people, but as of recently, motifs have become interesting to me. So listen to this motif if I can play without getting copyright slapped in the face. Added baby noise. I can't do it. I don't know why I thought I could, but I had to try. Oh man. Anyway, baby noises are added to make the baby cute. Not big surprise, but that one doesn't even sound human to me, and so I decided to point it out. No! No! There's a speed ramp when he turns, as in the footage is sped up. They probably didn't like the take that he did, and that wasn't fast enough, so they sped it up. And if you look for it, you can see it. I noticed it, and I don't like when they do that. I know why they did it, but I'm pointing it out. Moving on. What is this? I keep doing it. Whatever. So I don't know if they're compositing shots with, you know, Santa there and then the elves after the fact, or if it's done with a depth perception. What's it called? Depth of field trick, where they're actually both in frame, but the people playing elves are actually much further in the background. But I noticed that big shadow line on the floor by his feet, and I thought, oh, well, there's your line. There's your actual composition, your edit right there. You can see that Santa's on one side and the elves are on the other. It's like, oh, whoopsie. That looks like some crappy thing that I would do when I edit myself, two of me in the same shot. So either that is a feathering line, there's two different shots put together digitally in post, or that is a depth of field, depth perception trick, two floors. One's much closer, one's further away and raised up. Whatever. That's clearly a result of fitting those two things together. It's just right there. So there it is. Moving on. Watch this guy's reaction.
So, after all that hard work, it's time to start preparations for next Christmas.
His reaction is funny to me because it's the opposite of everyone else. He's like, oh God. I wish it was more in plain view and full quality and up close, because that's like meme material. That's just a funny reaction. Anyway, he does not look happy to be preparing for next Christmas right now.
What in the name of Sam Hill is that?
What the f*** is that?
A child. No.
Here are the baby noises. You can see clearly the baby is not making these noises. Not in the territory of egregious, but annoying to me. It shouldn't annoy you, it annoys me. See that shadow line on the ground I pointed out? And I watched the elf walk up to it, but not cross that line because he can't. Haha! I was close. That's almost certainly what that is. Okay, look at this sleigh. I don't care. No, I was noticing this is an actual thing. Like, this is actually built. You can see like the chrome leaf springs, the suspension. Somebody actually built this, and I realized actually somebody built two of them because they had the guy playing Papa Elf get in it, and he's small, which means they built a extra large one. They built two of these. I'm like, these are legit builds. These things actually work. I wonder if they're still in existence and where they are.
What?
When he says, what? And the T, it like makes a tuft of air, which moves the fluff on his collar, and it caught my attention.
What?
I don't know if this is classified as a trope, but what's this called when everyone, it's like a record scratch reaction trope where everyone just stops what they're doing and like looks, you know. There is a name for it. What's the name for this? Okay, this clipboard joke never made sense to me, so I decided to look at it and figure it out, decide if it makes sense or not, and it does not make sense. So he says 85, that puts you 915 off the pace, which means you're supposed to do 1,000. Okay, now we're gonna look at the clipboard. I call it a clipboard, it's a scroll, but it's a clipboard joke. We're doing Etch-a-Sketches, so if you direct your attention to the bottom middle of this clipboard scroll, you can see not names, but parts that need to be assembled. And there's the quote and actual, to date, to complete. There's no numerical value for 1,000, and these are not by name, so these have to be distributed. I'm using big words. The point is, there is nothing on that table to inform him that he has to do 1,000. That number exists in his head. It's not on that piece of paper. The movie's bad now. It's really bad because I said that, and now it has to redeem itself.
Why don't you just say it? I'm the worst toy maker in the world. I'm a cotton.
So I saw the food, the snacks, and I realized, oh, this is kind of framed to be like a break room talk at work joke. And I thought this would be funnier if there was a water cooler, because that's basically what this is. It's a water cooler moment. And then I recognized or realized, hey, that looks like a water cooler there in the corner in this shot. You can kind of see that's probably a hot cocoa dispenser, which works in place of a water cooler. Oh, okay, I see. Now I get it. They did actually frame it that way. That's funny. It wasn't clear to me until I was kind of looking for it. I thought it needs a water cooler. I don't know that they needed to do this, but if they had the first elf, instead of just standing there with his mug, if they had him dispense it and then turn, hey, Ming Ming, or whatever his name is, then it would have been easier to see. But the point is, the joke is there. Good joke. This laugh exists in my brain, and I've probably had it in bad dreams. I know it really well from somewhere. I think it's from Lady and the Tramp, and so if it is, I'll look it up on YouTube and play it. And I don't know if it's from Lady and the Tramp. If it's in Lady and the Tramp, it doesn't mean it originated there, but that's where I know the laugh from. Oh! He doesn't actually hit his head. Obviously, it's, you know, what do you call that? Pantomimed, motioned, and you can see it when you look for it. It's kind of disappointing when you can see a hit not connect, but it's a joke. Who cares?
I then proceeded to tell Buddy of how his father had fallen in love when he was very young with a beautiful girl named Susan Wells, and how Buddy was born and put up for adoption by his mother, and how she had later passed away.
So him telling them this backstory means they researched him and know where he belongs, or at least that he belongs in an adoption home. And him having this picture isn't explained. It's really weird, and I'm sure it exists only for the plot. Yeah, okay.
Walter. I'm on the naughty list, Walter.
By the way, do you know in the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul series, both of which I've watched, he doesn't actually say Walter. He says Walter. He doesn't say Walter, except maybe once or twice. As somebody who responds to the name Walter, I'm acutely tuned to that, and that's just a joke that took off that I like. Walter. Anyway, he doesn't actually say Walter. He says Walter. I can't right now. My nose is stuffy from pizza rolls.
Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
I quote this, and so do strangers. It's, in my experience, the most quoted line in the whole movie, which is kind of weird if you think about it. But I hear people say this, and I know where it's from, and I'll quote it to people. Here's that motif again, but like in a heroic, optimistic way.
My name's Buddy.
So here's a weird story, and to make you uncomfortable, I'm going to keep on this frame of this raccoon. We had a taxidermied raccoon as a toy when I was growing up. Yeah, that's super normal. Anyway, the point is, I see this and I go, oh, look, it's that taxidermied raccoon. I don't know why we had one, but we had a taxidermied raccoon, which is basically what that is. I remember exactly how the fur felt and how it smelled, and yeah, it's I know this taxidermied raccoon intimately well. Moving on. Look how they made the raccoon jump directly over the camera. That's somebody's pet. That's somebody's raccoon, and they had to like set that up and make it do that. If you forget the raccoon taxidermy pet toy PTSD for a second, I appreciate that. Someone was like, hey, right, let's put the camera here, put the thing, and get the treat, and get that one shot, because you need that before you throw this taxidermied raccoon at El Ferrell. El Ferrell's fun. Monkey. Yeah, that's a monkey sound. It's not a raccoon sound. Monkey. Monkey. He looks to his left, then his right, then his left. Somebody taught him how to look before crossing a street, which I thought was interesting, because seemingly in the North Pole there are no roads, and this is not something he would learn, especially like later when he walks in front of a taxidermy. PTSD's kicking in. He walked in front of a taxi without looking both ways, so it's not important, but in the canon, this makes no sense. He should not know how roads work and how to look both ways. And when they show this, it doesn't make sense later when he walks right into traffic. I think this was just Will Ferrell being told to walk and not thinking about that, because why would you? This is a dumb Christmas movie that assholes tear apart. Anyway, look at this guy in the background. Look at the continuity. This guy in the building. He's standing here, and then when the camera changes position, he's almost in the exact same spot, which is excellent. Excellent. Doesn't matter, but then the continuity is broken when the camera goes back to where it was. He's not quite in the same spot, but good job on his part. He acted that role at least twice. Walter. I'm here to see it, Walter. Hobbs?
I'm here to see Hobbs?
All right, let's get it over with.
That's actually a really good quote. I need to use that later. It's not like it's unique, but like, that's a good soundbite. I should be using that for things.
Wow, that was weird.
That's another good soundbite. I need to be using that one too, just as, like a reaction clip.
I think we should call security.
Good idea. I like to whisper too.
That's the line I quote most. I know I said it was the bye buddy, I hope you're fine, you're dead. I think that's what most people quote, but me personally, that's the one I quote the most. I'd like to whisper too. Also, look at Walter's reaction. It looks too genuine. I think the actor was breaking character. And if you really look, the lady, she almost breaks a smile and puts it away. He breaks character in the middle and she almost breaks character before the camera cuts. I love watching character breaks when it comes to comedy because it's always like a treat.
It's okay, where's my father?
Well, your dad's busy right now.
For some reason, whenever this guy talks, I think of Patrick Warburton. I don't think he sounds like him, but I think of him. So for fun, I'm going to do his voiceover like Patrick Warburton.
It's okay, Walter's my father.
Well, your dad's busy right now.
Okay, I'll come back later.
Yeah, you're not gonna come back for a while, okay? You're gonna go back to Santaland.
Okay.
Yeah, when do you go back to Gimbals?
I know I shouldn't care, but this looks so bad to me, and it always bothers me every time I see it. The CGI decorations on the building. Nasty.
Hey, have you seen these toilets? They're ginormous.
So that made me laugh a lot when I first saw it. I thought he was making up the word ginormous, and everybody else laughed too. I know it's not necessarily because of the words, because he hasn't had a normal sized toilet, but I thought he was mixing the words gigantic and enormous to make the word ginormous. But I looked it up, and ginormous is a word. So I'm wondering, did that change in the lexicon since this movie came out? Because I'm fairly certain it wasn't a word. It'd be funnier if it wasn't a word because it's a fish out of water thing. My point is, I accept that ginormous might be a word now, but did that happen recently? Was ginormous a word when this movie was made? So his name is Wanda, I guess, but it can't be. And I was thinking, I've never known a name tag to show a last name, but it doesn't because Jovi has a name tag. It says Jovi on it. So his name is Wanda. I'm sure in the canon he took someone else's name tag, but why would you do that, especially as a manager? I think it's weird. I want to know what is going on behind the scenes. Why is his name tag Wanda?
Attention all Gimbal shoppers, please make your final purchases. We'll be closing in 10 minutes.
This announcer's voice always sounded kind of weird to me. It's a little too enthusiastic, and it always reminded me of the Idiocracy announcer from the rehabilitation arena.
Everybody came here to see the only undefeated officer ever in history. Attention all Gimbal shoppers. Please make your final purchases. We'll be closing in 10 minutes.
No, it looks bad still. Stop it.
They're kind of pissed about this.
Really?
He knows what pissed means? I thought that was weird. Like fish out of water raises an elf. He should know what pissed is. It shouldn't be in his vernacular, but he responds to it as if he knows what that means, which I thought was weird. You gotta pay more attention to the canon and the lore before you write these childish jokes. Oh! Look at this damn kid actor looking off screen behind the camera for his coaches to know what he's supposed to say and stuff. You can just see the guy behind the camera. Fake. That's your line. It's fake. Look, fake. Damn kid actors.
Okay, buddy. You know what to say, don't you?
Witness on what?
Stuntman shout out.
Who the heck are you? I'm Buddy the Elf.
No, you're not.
Officer Tom, this is my dad. This is
Walter.
I know who I'm gonna call.
Walter.
Ah.
So based on the profile of Walter's cheeks, it's my opinion that he's smiling. It's kind of hard to explain, but they're filled as if he's pulling them back. And I compare that to an over-the-shoulder shot earlier where he can't be smiling and his profile is more linear. It suggests to me that he's smiling. I'm guessing that he broke character when Will acted that way, which tickles me. I like when they break character for comedy. I'm just assuming he's breaking character there. So I'm a fairly suggestible person, and when I was watching this to review it, I saw them eating spaghetti. I was like, I want spaghetti. So watching this made me go out and buy and eat spaghetti. I wrote that down, so I had to say it out loud.
He's your son.
There's a weird camera warble here. I don't know if someone I think someone just tapped or hit the camera. It's weird. It's an optical thing, I think. It might have been the film stock getting screwy, but that was weird.
Wow, that was weird.
Dad? Dad? Dad!
I used to do the exact same thing when I was a fully grown little boy. I used to gradually, louder, and more obnoxiously and longer, the exact same thing. So the fact that he did that makes me think that, well, I'm not the only one to have done that, but not that I thought that, but it really tickles me to know, okay, so I wasn't the only one to go, Dad, long pause, Dad, a little bit longer, Dad, and just one more, Dad. I feel so bad. As a kid, like, you gotta do what you gotta do, but now as a dad, it's like, anyway.
We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups. Candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
Did you sleep okay last night?
Great. I got a full 40 minutes.
All right, this note says, I have to wonder how he manages to be healthy with sugar and 40 minutes of sleep. I get that could work for an elf, but he is a human. Good observation, me. Not important, you can let it go. It's a silly comedy, whatever, but like, that suggests that anyone could have 40 minutes of sleep and eat just sugar and be as healthy as he is, which obviously is silly.
Where did you get all the wood?
That's what she said.
Look at this guy underneath the stairs with the yellow hat. He's looking directly at the camera when he comes out, and then he like kind of turns around in a hurry and like hides himself. I don't know if he's an extra or not part of the film, but he seemed to react as if, oh shoot, camera, I'm not supposed to be here, or I'm not supposed to be. He might be on the crew, not just an extra, but it was not supposed to be there. I'm certain of it. It's stupid, but that's never not funny. There's a lot of things in the movie like that where they're just stupid but funny, but that's one of the stupider things that has no right to be as funny as it is. It's never not funny. So I was watching them jump in the elevator, and I was wondering if it was a real elevator or if it was just a set and the camera guys just picking the camera up to create the illusion of them pressing the floor up beneath them. And I realized it is a set because at one point the elevator falls and the camera goes up before they ever hit the ground. Like, timing is off.
Stand the whole wide world. Stand the whole wide world.
So they're just standing on a stationary platform and the camera guy is doing this. I gotta hurry, dude. I'm not gonna make it. Fuck. Look at that line behind the tree. I think that line is someone pulling the tree up to help Will Ferrell push the tree up. It's clearly like a rope or a line that's tied to something because it's taut the whole time. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
Well, I don't think it's any secret that you haven't exactly been there for him. Well, I tell you what, I have an idea then. Why don't you take Buddy to work with you?
I always wondered, why don't you take Buddy to work with you? Because we need the plot to happen. They could have explained that away with something, but they didn't, so it doesn't. I don't understand this guy's reaction. The guy with the door open, he's watching the mail come down, and his reaction is like surprise, like, what the? I wasn't expecting mail. Like, I must be missing something. His reaction does not make sense to me. There's another stunt guy. Shout out, dude.
He's a fake!
Well, don't be too late. It's Christmas Eve.
Shut the fuck up. What?
Breakthrough. His best idea is about a peach that lives on a farm. What's more vulnerable than a peach?
This confused me, still does, because didn't Miles Finch specifically say that vegetables or tomatoes are too vulnerable and not to use farms?
No tomatoes. Too vulnerable. And no farms.
Yet, in one of Miles's pitches, it's actually about a vegetable on a farm. I'm really confused about that. I must be missing something, but that doesn't make sense.
I think we should go with the first pitch. It's genius.
And I've always wondered, what is the legality of this? You find his personal notebook, professional, whatever. He left it behind by accident. It clearly doesn't belong to these guys. And while I guess Miles Finch didn't technically legally get rights to his ideas yet, you can't just, that's stealing. I don't understand how this is okay. My thought was always, okay, they're going to steal his idea, publish it, get the rights to it, whatever. And then Miles Finch will go, that was my idea from my book. And they go, well, prove it. And also, we already own it now, so you're screwed. Either way, even if it's legally okay, it's morally super wrong. I guess that's okay for Walt's character. They maybe should have addressed it a little bit if it is, in fact, straight up stealing or morally wrong, but they play it off as if it's okay. Here's the motif again, a bit more sad.
Love, buddy.
And it repeats now, the instrumentation's different. It goes from piano to, what is this, clarinet? And not long ago, it was all heroic and optimistic. And before that, it was cutesy. And now they changed the same note, same melody, changed the tone. I think it's really fascinating. When I saw Buddy go to the bridge, I immediately in my brain connected it to It's a Wonderful Life, which is the only other Christmas movie that I own. Now I bought it so I could show you the clip, but apparently I had seen It's a Wonderful Life before I'd ever seen Elf, because when I first saw Elf, I thought, oh my gosh, Buddy's going to the bridge to kill himself, because that's what happened in It's a Wonderful Life. He went there to jump off the bridge. He left. He was dejected on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whatever, same thing. And he was going to jump off. I thought that's what Buddy was going to do. So yeah, that would have been a little dark. Hey, it's fast and optimistic now. It's like, it's action now. Ah, it's this motif again. Ah.
Boy, am I glad to see you.
I was about to lay a smackdown on your ass.
I don't know why, but I think the fact that the start button is in impact font is pretty funny, because impact font is like reserved for memes basically. But whoever designed it was like, yeah, impact font. Comic Sans would have been funnier, but impact is kind of funny.
The engine broke free of her mounts.
Sweetheart, can you tell me what you saw falling out of the sky?
It was Santa's sleigh.
Okay, I know this isn't Florida, but wouldn't a strange person walking around the woods dressed as an elf on Christmas Eve be super benign? I think they address it and play it off as, we're gonna break your story of this small, cute little thing. I think that's how they're playing it off. But you know why this is happening. It's happening for the plot. I don't like when movies do this. We have to have a broadcast on television so that our other characters can know what's going on or where our other characters are. So they do that for Elf and Jovi. And then they do it for the kid and his mom. I get it. Like, right, you're allowed to do stupid, easy stuff like that. But it gets kind of silly because this is on television in New York. New York is kind of big from what I hear. And after having seen each other on television and not knowing where anybody is, they all just find each other and they're all in the same exact place, which is silly. Like, hey, Dad, Buddy went missing. Let's go look for him. Found him. How? Magic Christmas. That's why. Like, you can roll it off before you roll your eyes because of the kind of movie it is, I guess, but it always bothers me. There's that story. I don't like these transitions. They're fine, but what we have here is two sweeps. We have a stationary camera, pan, and then we have Will Ferrell walking up to set or to his mark, and we do a pan and move the camera. And if you look, you can see these are two different swipes, two different camera motions in two different places stitched together. I think it's the tree that kind of gives it away. Yeah, to the left of the tree, that's where the shots are blended together. It's kind of hard to show. Here, since I can manipulate each frame, it's very easy for me to see, but two things stitched together. Not important. More of a, hey, look at this. Motif again? Motif? Motifa? Oh, it's all sad now, but like happy sad. Motifs are interesting.
Only the Central Park Rangers now remain in the park. These forces are highly trained, but rarely see action. Some have accused them of being too gung-ho when called into duty.
I wondered, why did he have him open the hatch, and why did the hatch have to be opened? It's just a compartment lit to see what's underneath. This is why. So that we can see Elf underneath later during the action sequence. That's the only reason. I don't like that. I don't like when bad things happen in movies. This is what happened. I guarantee it, okay? Someone recognized the problem but didn't solve it correctly. This is what happened. They're writing the movie, they're blocking it, they're doing their storyboarding probably. And they went, okay, now we're at the part when Santa's flying off, but Buddy's underneath trying to fix the engine. How are we gonna get the camera underneath to show Buddy? We need to see his face and see the engine. Well, then you would look through the floor. Well, how are we gonna shoot through the floor? How are we gonna justify that? I know there's a hatch. Okay, but why would there be a hatch and why would it be open? Well, who cares? But we need to open a hatch somehow. Okay. So they recognized the problem, but they didn't give it a good solution. They try to play it off by going, hey, kid, could you open the hatch for no particular reason? And then here's your hatch and it's open. But they could have, with a bit more thought, and again, I'm lazy and I am pressed for time, could have thought of a more natural reason as to why we need to open a hatch so we can see Buddy's face. It's the only reason it happens. It's a continuity storyboard problem that just got swept. But I'm pointing it out. I'm not a mechanic, but those are steel braided air hoses attached to the engine. I know they don't actually do anything, but like those are airlines. There's like 2 or 3 of them. That is the most overused horse sound. There's like 2 horse sounds you'll hear every time in every movie for all time. If ever I'm reviewing movies and I hear that horse, I'm going to point it out because you have heard it more than once. I guarantee it. So I noticed her smile at the end of that shot. I think she broke character. It fits in character with what happened, I guess. It's acceptable, but I'm certain she wasn't supposed to smile. I think she broke character, and so it made me laugh when I noticed it. Again, if someone's breaking character because something is funny, it's funny to me. All right, I haven't thought this through. I'm impressed for time. I literally have to leave. So let me try to break this down. I'm really confused about how Christmas Spirit works. Okay, this thing used to solely run on Christmas Spirit. Okay, so that's what it's running on. It says spirit on the clausometer. Spirit is fuel. Okay. Buddy says the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. So cheer leads to singing, which leads to spirit, which theoretically means that those 3 things are synonymous. But Santa also says
Christmas spirit is about believing, not seeing.
Christmas spirit is about believing, not seeing. Okay, spirit, our main item here, fuel, is synonymous with believing, if you just believe in Santa. So there's 1 tree to get to spirit. On this tree, you have cheer, singing, spirit. So this is a redundant, slower way to get it. You need to get people to believe. But both of these actions, cheer, singing, spirit, believing spirit, leads to the fuel source. Okay. And we can knock out one from the tree. We can say that singing is synonymous with believing on this tree. Now, this is important because for some arbitrary reason, when the sleigh flies over the crowd and Walt says whatever he says, then that's just enough to get to 100% because they can't fly on 95%, whatever. So my question is, I gotta leave. I gotta hurry. Ah! My question is, I also have to poop. This is really bad timing. Believing is not synonymous with singing. You can make me sing about how Santa was a snowman, but that doesn't make me believe it, or whatever the song goes. So, not important, but do you see the logic problem? Okay, we need to move on here. And I need to move because I gotta poop. This shot looked and sounded familiar to me. I couldn't figure out why. It felt kind of familiar, and I think I know why. Because I realized that Jon Favreau directed this movie, and he directed Iron Man. I realized, oh, well, yeah, this kind of looks like, and that's the real connection. It looks like Iron Man, but what it feels like Iron Man because that dong noise sounds a lot like Iron Man, the first movie, hammering away at his metal thing. So it might be a reused asset that John had, but he's certainly touching both of these things in my brain. So maybe my brain connected subconsciously that it was Jon Favreau or whatever.
Hey! There's no singing in the North Pole.
Okay, another question I want to outsource to the audience. Who and where is this kid? Who is he? Where is he? He's probably really old now. He's probably an adult, which is weird to think about.
Weird.
But he got this one close-up really quick. So the director either thought they were cute or good enough, or they liked them for biased, nepotistic reasons. Like, hey, you're my nephew, so here's your close-up. Huh. If you know him, show me.
Show me.
Well, I guess we'll never know for sure what happened this Christmas Eve in Central Park.
So this little expository thing, I think it's about as neatly as they can wrap up the end without the explanation of why the heck nobody had a smartphone or recorded anything that just happened. That's about as neatly as they could tie it up.
He started his own independent publishing company.
By the way, he says Walter like Walder, W-A-L-D-E-R.
Walter.
And that's how old people say my name, Walder. It's a real thing. See that cardboard cutout of Elf in the background? I was like, don't they sell those? Because I'm certain I've seen them. So it's kind of interesting that if they sold them, they have one in the movie too.
Twirly, swirly gumdrops.
My brain went, no, it's swirly, twirly gumdrops, not twirly, swirly. And I looked back and yeah, he got it wrong.
Twirly, swirly gumdrops.
Swirly, twirly gumdrops.
Damn child actors. You can see the ones like looking at the camera or behind the camera or not following the prompts. And man, kid actors are the worst.
Witness on wheels.
Okay, forget the eyeball thing. Here's some more weird optical distortion. You can like look at her eyes and you can see a linear path that goes horizontally. It warbles again. That's a weird distortion thing that's happening, but guess what? I had pizza rolls. I'm about to lose my pizza rolls out my butthole, hopefully. The movie is over. I gotta poop. I got an appointment. So how do I wrap this up? I'm not a Christmas person. Not really. I never buy decorations or anything. As you can see, my room is not decorated. All I did is I put up like candles in place of my lamps. I use candles for the month of Christmas, the month of December. That's it. And I don't have any kind of Christmas traditions, but if someone's like, you want to watch Elf, I'd be like, yeah, I'll watch that. You know, it's rewatchable, and it's something, like I said, I think a lot of movies wish that they had this quality, being rewatchable. Elf is funny. So, yeah, it's a good movie for what it is, I should say, for what it is. I have thought about it, and I know what I'm going to rate it.
7 out of 10. Squeaky clean.
Do not go in there. Woo! Did you buy that thing for a shitty joke? Yep. How much did it cost? $50.